to what I'm going to call Beyond the Photo with me, Damien Jackson. I'm an enthusiastic photographer living in Tramore in County Waterford, and I've recently discovered an interest in video. This channel will concentrate on what goes on beyond the photograph. In other words, a little bit of history about the subject or the location, any interesting facts or folklore. What are the best angles for composition, and when will the light be right? All the things you'll need to know to take a really good photograph. My reason behind the channel is that over the years I've been to lots of beautiful locations, taking some photographs, and never knew much about the place. It was almost like a smash and grab raid. You come in, set up your tripod, take the photograph and run. You edit the photo, end up with a nice photo, but you don't know anything about the actual location itself. So what I intend to do is revisit some of these places, do my research before I go, take some video and photographs and share that information with you. It might help you to plan your own photography trip and maybe get some good photographs from the area. I'm starting my first video close to home at the Metalman in Tramore in County Waterford. And hopefully I'll get a video out on a monthly basis. I've taken the videos and photographs over the last few months, and finally now with the lockdown, I'm getting a chance to sit down and actually edit them. If you like this video, I'd much appreciate a like or a comment. But go easy on me, it's my first try at this, and sure, look, let's give it a go.
So it's a fabulous day here now. The sun is shining, it's no wind, so it's an ideal day for the drone. And I want to do a little documentary just about the actual Metalman himself. And it's my first try of getting some drone footage of the Metalman. I did some pictures, but I haven't done any video yet, so hopefully that'll work out.
In over 30 years of living in Tramore, I have photographed a Metalman. I'd heard the folklore about maidens hopping 3 times around it to find a suitor, but I had never looked any deeper into the history behind it. My journey begins at the popular swimming spot at Newtown Cove. There's a little pathway from the cove that brings you up onto the cliffs along Newtown Head, where there's a cliff walk that brings you to the Metalman. The pathway is a little dangerous in places and not suitable for children or some adults that might be a little infirm on their feet, with high cliffs and steep drops down to the sea. Let's take a quick look at the location of the Metalman. There are 5 towers erected at the entrance to Tramore Bay. 3 of them, including the Metalman, are situated on Newtown Head, and the other 2 are located on Brownstown Head on the opposite side of the bay. Only one of these towers, the middle one on Newtown Head, has an iron sculpture on top. This sculpture is of a man in British Navy uniform from the early 1800s. We'll get to the white part shortly. The story behind the building of the towers remains one of Ireland's worst maritime disasters. On the 30th of January 1816, a British Navy transport ship named the Seahorse sank in a ferocious storm in the shallow waters of Tramore Bay. The Seahorse was bound for Cork Port with a large detachment of 16 officers and 287 men of the 2nd Battalion 59th Regiment, accompanied by 33 women and 38 children and the ship's crew. Originally based in Ireland, the 2nd Battalion were redeployed to France for the Napoleonic War in 1814. After the Battle of Waterloo, the 2nd Battalion sailed back to Dover and then after some months left from Ramsgate for their base in Ireland. As they sailed past Tramore Bay in a fierce storm, the captain was attempting to get around Brownstown Head and into the calmer waters of Waterford Estuary and Harbour. But the fierce gales blew the ship into the bay, and despite the use of over 10 anchors, the mountainous seas and ferocious gales caused the ship to lose her masts and rudder. She foundered in the bay less than a mile from shore a few minutes after midday. 363 people, including men, women and children, drowned, with only 31 survivors from the catastrophe. Following the disaster, the insurance company, Lloyd's of London, decided to build the towers to prevent a repeat of the disaster. The towers were erected to warn sailors of the shallow waters of Tramore Bay and as navigation markers to ensure ships travelling to Watford Harbour, which is the next inlet along the coast, didn't mistake the entrance to Tramore Bay for the entrance to Watford Harbour. The Metalman sculpture is 14 feet or a little under 2.5 metres in height. I couldn't find the height of the towers anywhere. I'm guessing about 30 to 40 metres. That's open to correction, and if you do know, please leave a comment below. Building of the towers began in 1819 and they were completed 5 years later in 1824. Legend has it that on stormy nights, the Metalman's words can be heard in the wind.
Keep out, good ships, keep out from me, for I am the rocks of misery.
On a lighter note, from a photography point of view, and in my opinion, the towers on both headlands are probably best shot using a drone. I think the two best angles are shooting in from the sea for both sets of towers in Brownstown and on Newtown Head, and capturing the cliffs in the foreground. A good friend of mine, Tommy Quilty, he likes the high vantage point shooting up the coast towards Dungarvan with the Metalman in the foreground. Up close, the towers are so high that once you get anyway close, they're difficult to shoot, even with a wide angle lens. On the way back from the Metalman, or even before you head up the cliff walk, there's an opportunity for a few shots at Newtown Cove, which is where the entrance to the cliff walk begins. In the cove itself, if you place yourself right up against the back wall and over to the left, there's an opportunity for a low angle shot with the rocks in the foreground, the swimming pier as the main subject, and Brownstown Head in the distance. This angle works well at dawn as it's facing east and the light floods into the cove. There's a concrete plinth where the old diving board used to be, and this works well with a person on it. This particular shot here is by moonlight. Leaving the cove and walking just 100 metres towards the car park, there's another opportunity to take a shot from the railings overlooking Newtown Cove. This shot once again is at dawn. Moving into the car park, you can catch another shot of the cove, this time with the Metalman in the background. Obviously this is a winter shot and the sun sets in the southwest for this location. In summer it goes way over to the right and to the west of this photo. Even without the snow, this is a nice composition for winter shooting. You'll need to bracket your exposures here, as the cove itself will be in shadow and the bright sky will be behind the Metalman, so it's difficult to balance it all with just one exposure. I suggest taking at least 3 at different shutter speeds and blend them together. On the other side of the bay at Brownstown Head, there are a couple of options for a shot. The drone shot from out over the sea is possibly even more effective from this side, as the headland juts out in more of a peninsular type shape, so you'll get to see on both sides. You'll get a sense of scale of the towers if you can spot me a couple of metres to the right and front of the left tower. Another option for a shot at Brownstown is to walk a couple of 100 metres inland on the Tramore Bay side of the headland, and you'll find a spot that juts out into the sea to give you an angle to set up the tripod and shoot back towards the towers. You can use the cliffs as a leading line here. The other small building that you'll notice next to the towers is one of the lookout huts from the emergency, or what the rest of the world referred to as World War II. So that's a wrap on this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave me a like or comment below. My next video will be on Dunhill Castle, We look at the history, some facts about it, and of course the best angles and compositions for shooting it. Thank you very much for watching, and a reminder, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up or a comment, and subscribe and click the bell so you'll be notified of the next one. Hope to see you there.